Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. This is the Friday version of the show that I do before the next game, which is on Sunday, Soldier Field, noon your time, well, Central Time, and it's the New Orleans Saints. And I am giving you a disclaimer right now. This announcer is exhausted. I wasn't even going to do the show today, but I thought, yeah, just get it over with. I had my grandkids. I normally don't have them on Friday, but my daughter-in-law has been very busy at work, so I volunteered to watch them. My son just came and picked them up, and this grandma is pooped. It's a 3.5 and a 1.5-year-old boys. I'm 67 and not in the greatest shape. I'll admit it, and wow, I'm tired. But that's all right. So let's get going and talk about this game. I will tell you first, we'll start out with how many times these two teams have played. They have played 34 times, the Saints and the Bears, including 3 postseason games. And the Bears have won 15 and New Orleans has won 19. This is becoming a trend. Have you guys noticed that? And the first time these two teams played was in December of 1968. New Orleans is 1-5. The Bears are 3-2. We're going to get into that. I'm a little nervous about this game, but we'll talk about it in a minute. I did want to bring up how, I talked on Tuesday's show about, and there's been a lot of chatter online about how Aikman was such a jerk on Monday Night Football. He basically said the Bears were shit. He basically said Caleb Williams is shit. Things, at one point, one of the passes, he goes, oh, that was lucky. You know what? F you. You know what? I was looking at this. And Troy Aikman, when he first started, he had a passer rating of 81 with 13,627 yards with 69 touchdowns and 66 interceptions in 68 games in his first 5 seasons. So I wouldn't say that you were awesome when you first started. I want to say that his first season, he threw a lot of interceptions. So, you know what? Yeah, those numbers are okay, but they're not great. 66 interceptions to 69 touchdowns is not a good ratio in 5 seasons. So it took him a little while. He did win 3 Super Bowls, but you know what? Give Cabe a chance, get off his damn back, and F you, Troy Aikman. You know what? I know you want to date Daniels, the quarterback for Washington, so go ahead. And while you're at it, have another cocktail, Aikman, while you're on the air. He's such an ass. I mean it. He really is. He was a real jerk, and I was kind of surprised. But I love the way the Bears came back. And Ben Johnson basically said, you know what? It doesn't matter. What Ben Johnson said was right. He goes, you need to earn respect in this league. And you earn respect by winning games. And we'll just keep on doing that. And then he'll end up keeping his mouth shut. So, and then I heard somebody else say, well, that is his job and this and that. But you know what? You could be a little more biased, or no, that's the wrong word. A little bit more down the middle. Not so biased to Washington. You know what? It was just a one-sided commentary on Aikman. And Caleb Williams basically said, you know what? At the end of the day, we won the game, so I don't really care what he says. They're less upset than the fans were, for sure, although they didn't hear it. We had to watch the game, worry about getting a win, and listen to that jerk go on and on and on. You know what I think? He's mad because we beat his Dallas team, 3-4 weeks ago? So if we're shit, then what were they? And what are they? Although they're better now than they were when we played them. But excuse me, Aikman. So you know what? Go jump off a mountain or something, all right? goodbye. Okay. So, anyways, let's get into the Saints. We'll do some comparisons like I always do, compare these four categories. Where the Bears and New Orleans rank from 1 to 32 teams. I do the pass, the rush, points scored, and points allowed. So the Bears are averaging 227 passing yards. That puts them 11th in the league out of 32 teams. New Orleans is averaging 195 yards passing, and that puts them 22nd. Our rush, of course, it got the big boost because we were well in the I think we were like 27th or 28th last week, but that game we had on Monday night really helped. So now we're averaging 110 yards rushing. That puts us 18th. New Orleans, we're right there. They're averaging 109 yards rushing, 19th. So our rushing game, if our rushing game is consistent, it was one game. I gave Swift his props, but it was one game. When he starts putting more and more and more 100-yard games or close to it together, stacking them up, then I will get off his back, but not until. Okay, so the Bears have been averaging 25 points a game. That puts them 10th in the league. And New Orleans is averaging 18 points a game. That puts them 28th. So we've got them on passing. We've got them on more points scored, and points allowed by our defense. They're both bad. We allow an average of we've been allowing an average of 28 points a game. That puts us 27th. New Orleans defense has been giving up other teams 26 points, and that puts them 25th. So we're both pretty bad right there. And then the other stat I like to compare. Not all the running backs and wide receivers, but of course I do the quarterback. So Cabe, he's to this date, we have played 5 games, right? We're 3-5, or 3-2. See, I'm tired. He has thrown for 1,179 yards. He has 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That is a wonderful ratio, and he was like that last year, and we got to keep him. That means he's being smart with the ball. He has been sacked 10 times, unfortunately. Redder, I don't know what his name is, the quarterback. He has thrown for 1,217 yards, more than Cabe. He's got 6 touchdowns to 1 interception, which is a good ratio too. And he's been sacked 11 times. So both our quarterbacks have some issues in the sack department, whether it's on. Now, I know that Cabe has cleaned up his issues from last year. So the sacks pretty much that have happened, except for 1 or 2 that I saw, we have been on the line. I'm not sure about their quarterback because I've never seen him play. I have not watched New Orleans all year. So I'm only going by stats right now, okay? So Swift, we know he had a wonderful game on Monday night, and I did give him his props in the air and on the ground, really did. Swift has got 295 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Williams, our quarterback, has 108 yards with 2 touchdowns. And Kyle, our rookie quarterback, number 25, has 81 yards, touchdown. And I was looking at the other, there's about 6 other guys that the Bears have been using as running backs. You know, they've used Moore. I've seen Rome, you've got Johnson was in last week, which I was really happy to see. I really would like to see him handle the ball more this coming week. And who else? So they've been spread it around, but these are the 3 top. And then for New Orleans, Kamara, which I talked about trading for, if you remember, a couple weeks ago. He's got 314 yards rushing. He's got 1 touchdown. Their next leading running back is Miller with 186 yards rushing on the ground with 1 touchdown. And quarterback Rader has 143. So he runs. He's got more than Cabe. So this guy will take off. So the Bears defense has got to be aware. Another quarterback that's going to scramble. So they've got to really be on their toes. Our leading wide receivers are leading with number 15, Rome, 328 yards receiving in the air, and he has 5 touchdowns. Moore is behind him with 215 yards receiving, a touchdown. And Swift, after last week, he had several long pass runs. He has 152 yards receiving with a touchdown. So, and I have said about Swift, he's a finesse runner. He's not a power back, but he's very good catching and running with the ball. He is really good at that. So I've never discounted that, but he is a running back, and we need him to be consistent. So New Orleans, a leading wide receiver is Olave. And he's got 342 yards receiving in the air, 1 touchdown. Shareed has 316 yards receiving in the air, 2 touchdowns, and Johnson, their tight end, has 236 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. So they've got, and then they had some other guys that were in the hundreds, like the Bears. I just don't name them all. So we're pretty even right there. They're kind of beating us. But they've got good wide receivers. That's my point. So we've got to be careful. Defensively, the Bears have 7 sacks, and you know what? That has got to improve. It has got to improve. We have got 8 interceptions, which just rocks. And it's really good. They got to keep that up, but I think they're going to. It's really helped. It helped last week. That helped us to win that game. They have 3 forced fumbles, and they've recovered 4 fumbles. So they forced 3. They recovered those 3, and then last week, Washington fumbled their own ball, and we got it. So that's why it's off a little bit. New Orleans has 13 sacks by their defensive line. So offensive line, Bears, look out. They have 3 interceptions. They have 5 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries. So they're doing well in that department as far as fumbles, like we are. There's a new stat that I saw, and I thought I'd just put in here for something different. Okay, it's tackles for loss. The Bears average for tackles for loss 20 yards, and New Orleans 31 yards. So they've got their defense in areas, it's good. Sounds like good. It's probably their middle linebackers that are really good. And their defensive line, though, I'm not really sure if it's all the defensive linebackers or the guy in the back who got those 13 sacks, but something to worry about. So there's not a lot to talk about this game. I don't know why, but it just seems like it. It seems so much going into this. I am a little worried about it. I'm not nervous like I was on Monday, but I am worried because they are 1-5. And they have nothing to lose. They're going to play relax. And I was wondering, why are they 1-5? Because some of their numbers don't look that bad, honestly. So I went and looked, and one of their problems, penalties. You know how I feel about penalties, right? I mean, every time I see any game, whether it's Bears or anything, I go, penalty, see what it did? And they are 3rd out of 32 teams with 50 penalties going into this game on Sunday. So that is not a good stat. We're not a whole lot better, but we're not 3rd. And the Bears are ranked 15th out of 32 teams. And this is as of week 6, as of this last week. And the Bears have 43 penalties. That has got to stop. Well, we had 9 on Monday. I mean, it's bullshit. Penalties are going to kill you. And look, so it was like, and then I read about New Orleans. It said penalties number 1, lack of discipline, and playmakers. That's what this one expert said, because I wrote, why, some of their numbers don't look so bad that they should be 1-5, and it said those were the 3 reasons. Now the penalties, I get it; they're 3rd in the league. That's just good. That just shows you what I'm talking about. Penalties are so bad, and it said, it's I believe they have a new coach this year, and it could be taking them time to, there's there's all new coaches, new players. They've got a new quarterback. you know, it takes time to mesh, and it worries me that this team is like, well, you know what? Yeah, they're 3-2. We're 1-5. They haven't had their bye yet, so they got nothing to lose. So they're just going to come in and play. So the Bears have got to really be prepared. One other thing I saw that was interesting to me, because I've never heard of this quarterback. It's actually spelled Rattle. So Rattler, I don't know, Rattler. That's what I'll call him, Rattler. You know me, I can't pronounce names. So, excuse me, I just didn't know much about him. So he was drafted by New Orleans in 2024 in the 5th round, and he finished his college at South Carolina. And he played, and last year he did play 7 games out of the 17 games for the New Orleans Saints. Okay, so and they feel like this is their future. They're going all in on this guy, and they feel comfortable that this is their future. And looking at their stats, him and Cabe, they're very close in there, very, very close. So it'll be interesting, but what is interesting about these two, Cabe Williams and this Spencer Rattler, they were both teammates when they were freshmen at the University of Oklahoma. They, after that, went in separate directions after one season. They spent one season together, and like I said, they went in different ways. But back in 2021, when they were on the Oklahoma team, he was in, and Oklahoma was in the catbird seat because they were winning games, things were going, and they had Rattler as their starting quarterback. And they thought they said we were like, here is a promising youngster, and he is going to be good. But they also said there's a real young guy sitting behind him named Caleb Williams who looks to be really good too. So it was like a situation, what's going to happen? So apparently what happened was he had a bad game along the way. They put Williams in, and he was great. And then the next year, both Williams went to gosh. Where'd he go to? USC? Yeah, USC, and then Rattler went to South Carolina. So, and they played together, and the coach for the Oklahoma Sooners said both of them, and they felt really good because they felt like they had this, they got this kid, and they felt he was a 5-star recruit, Rattler, and a promising quarterback, but yet behind him sat the same thing. So, and it was against Texas that Rattler had a bad game, and that was it. And during the 2021 season, and he got benched halfway through the game. They put Williams in, and the rest is history. Well, they both went somewhere else after that season. So basically, what we need to do is, it's simple. Simple. This is going to be a simple show. It kind of has to do with my 3s. So we'll do my 3s real quick. Penalties, 5 or less. You know how I feel about that. Turnovers, so important. You get those turnovers. Look what it did last week. I mean, I can't even, it was right there in front of your faces. 3 turnovers, and it kept the Bears in the game. Because, let's face it, Daniels threw for 3 touchdowns. He wasn't having a terrible game. It's the turnovers that got him, and the fact that the Bears had a running game hurt him too. But if you can keep your penalties to 5 and less, and the Bears have got to work on that. I have said before, it really surprises me because that was the one thing I thought was going to be cleaned up this year because of Ben Johnson is such a hard ass. He's particular. He's, he wants perfection, and for all these penalties, and it's mostly on offense. So they got to keep working on this. To me, it's a lack of discipline, okay? Now, I do say, it's pretty much brand new because we've benched Braxton Jones for the rookie 79. So he's in. And it's a pretty much all new offensive line from last year, and it takes a while to mesh. It just does. Of all the units on a football team, that one is the one that they have to be in sync together. They have to think alike. They've got to do everything. They've got to read each other's thoughts. You know what I mean? That's how much they have to. You got guys like that. Your offensive line, your quarterback is going to be in heaven, and you're going to have a running game. And it did show last week in Washington. There was some open lanes, man, that I had not seen this year, actually in several years. So I think that's going to keep going. The offensive line is going to keep getting better and better and better. And God willing, we stay healthy. It looked to me like there wasn't too many injuries today as of now. I hadn't seen the injury report for today, so but I do know that Garrett on the defense did not practice yesterday, and there was a couple did not practice, but mostly we're getting healthy. And so win to threes, so 5 or less penalties, get turnovers, and offense to eliminate the 3 and outs. 3 and outs are very destructive too, because it does not help you, because all it is an advantage is to the other team, because then their offense comes right back out, their defense gets to rest, and your defense has to come back out. So no 3 and outs, and I did not count any 3 and outs in that last game. I did not. So let's talk a little bit about, so I was talking about why, what is it with New Orleans? So here are their top guys. I'm just going to say it was pretty obvious. Their running back, Kamara, very, very good. Overly, their wide receiver, between the two of them, have over 300 yards, and their tight end has 234 yards. So they've got good things. And on defense, they've got some good guys. Grandson, he's a DN. He's a defensive edge. He's got 4.5 sacks. Gordon, another D-line. I am like, that's all, folks. Another edge rusher. He has got 2.5 sacks. And then a linebacker, Warner. These guys stand out in the defense for New Orleans. So keep an eye on those 3 guys. And basically, the Bears, what we need to do is they've got to stop the run on defense. We all know that, right? They've got to stop the run. They got to try to get us a couple, at least 2 turnovers. Stop the run, 2 turnovers, and again, like I said last week, we only had 2 sacks in that game. It's better than nothing, but they were in Daniel's face all day, and they made him uncomfortable. That's why he ran for 52 yards, because he had to run for his life, and he threw an interception. So same with New Orleans. If you can't quite get the sacks, I'd really like to see you, because getting sacks really gets in the head of the quarterback, also can cause a turnover. Sometimes they fumble the ball when they're sacked, and it's just a positive for your defense. Nothing psychs your defense up more. The 2 things that psych your defense up for is a sack and a turnover. So the Bears have really got to see. Now, Austin Booker was taken off injured reserve, but he did not play last week. They said he was not football ready, or actually he might still be on it, and I didn't see anything about him, so I don't know if he's playing or not, to be honest with you. I would love to see him in the game. Even if he does, it's gonna take him a little while to get back into football shape, because he hasn't played since camp. But once he gets going, he had a great camp. I think he's going to really help that line, and I think we're going to start racking up sacks. I really do. So basically, with the defense, play like you did last week. Get in the quarterback's face. Stop that run. For the most part, they did, because they were facing the number 1 run team in that game, and they held them to 100 and it was 120 yards, I think, and their leading rusher had gosh, 60 something yards. So they did it. It might not have been pretty, but they did it. So you got to stop the run. You got to get in the quarterback's face or sack him, and let's get some turnovers, okay? Now on the offense, again, pretty easy. We need that offensive line to keep getting better and better each week, which allows Cabe time to do his progressions and get that ball released. Open up those lanes, get those lanes open for the running attack again. I would love to see Swift have another great game because, listen, I know I've been putting him down for a year and a half, but you know what? If he starts to play good, I won't do it. I won't. But one game isn't, I'm not in love with him after one good performance. He has to rack more and more up. So, and I'd like to see number 23, Johnson, in there again more because I think he's got a lot to offer. So I really would like to see that too. Okay, so offensive line, stick together. Allow no sacks, open up the holes, get that running game going because I've told you a running game is a quarterback's best friend because once you get a consistent running game going, that it opens up the pass. You don't become one-dimensional and you can beat a team. And then, of course, we need Cabe to play smart football. Make your progressions quickly and make your decisions quickly. And, and if it's not there, then run or hit your check down guy, but play smart. He's playing better each week, in my opinion. We're seeing a little bit more and more and more improvement. And that's what's going to happen. Again, second year, but first year under a new head coach and offensive coordinator. So, and what the shit he had to deal with last year, let's just face it, you know what? That didn't even count. That did him more harm than any kind of good. So, and then we need our wide receivers to keep doing what they're doing. Our tight ends and wide receivers. Again, I'd love to see our tight ends get in. There was a really good play to Cole Kmet towards the end of that game last week on Monday, and he got us the first down when we were like on our 10-yard line and we had to go to the length of the field. It might have been on that last drive, and we got a penalty, and it brought it back. Then it was 1st and 20, it wasn't 1st and 20 because we were on the 10-yard line, but you know what I mean. So let's get these guys in there more. Him and Loveland, let's get them in there more, okay? Get some passes. Get our wide receivers, just keep doing what you're doing. Watch your quarterback. Help him out if he's in trouble. I like that we're getting Burden, our rookie wide receiver number 10, in there a little bit more. I'd like to see that happen more. So it's, bottom line is the Bears have to play like they do every week, like every football team. Smart, error-free football. Complementary. Special teams, defense, and offense all playing together. Keep those penalties 5 or less. Maybe get a turnover here and there. Get that run game going, and we can win. But I am nervous because, now we're like, okay, here we go. Like Ben said, we have to start. He said this after the Washington game. Okay, this was wonderful. This is great. But now we have to start stacking up win after win after win. And I said the next 3 games are winnable. And they are. We're at Soldier Field. We should beat New Orleans. And if you want to start getting respect and getting over that hump, you got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And you know what I mean on that. So the Bears damn well better win this game. Okay? Before I sign off, though, I a couple weeks ago, a game ended. No, it didn't. No, there was. I can't remember what happened, but anyway, it was a safety, and I got to thinking: has any game ever ended with a safety? You know what I mean? That was the end of the game in overtime. Overtime. I'm talking about overtime wins. Sorry, I didn't say that. See, again, I am beat as shit. I probably won't be able to get off this chair I'm sitting on once I turn off the show because my body. I'm going to need to crack open a few beers to get this body feeling better. Anyways, so I always wondered, has there ever been in overtime a win because of a safety? And there has 3 times in the history of football. There's been 3 regular season NFL games that ended in an overtime with a safety. In 1989, the Vikings defeated the Los Angeles Rams 23-21. In 2004, the Bears defeated the Tennessee Titans 19-17. And in 2013, the Dolphins defeated the Bengals 22-20. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I never knew that, but 3 of them in overtime. That's pretty cool. And our Bears were one of them, huh? Not bad. So it's a little tidbit. I like to every once in a while throw in something that nobody ever thinks about probably or knows. So now you know, in overtime, 3 games ended on safeties. It's pretty cool, and ours was one of them. But so basically, simple, air-free, smart, discipline. Everybody plays 110%, and I got to tell you, that defense last week, they were all playing 110%. And you know what? You always have to, but I mean it. This team, you can't take this game lightly. And I'm hoping Ben's telling them, just because you won, because we needed that game last week. We needed it for our record. But what we needed, because we didn't want to be 2-3, but what we really needed to do was wash away that bad taste and what happened last year in Washington, and we did, and we're moving on. And it helped some of the players. I know it helped 29 Stevenson, who got caught up in all the bullshit last year again. He's not the reason we lost that game. He didn't help, but it was the coach. Period. So, the important thing here now, Bears, wins. Our division, we're all clumped together now. Nobody's running away with it just yet. So that's a good thing. So that gives us, we've already lost to Minnesota and Detroit once. We've got to make those up when we see them the next time. We got to beat them. We have got to go 500 within our division if you want to be 500 or better. So let's just hope the Bears keep their heads on. I heard it might rain in Soldier Field. I love rain games, although I prefer snow games over rain games, but I love them. They just seem to be fun. Something fun always happens. So that's it. I'm not going to go on anymore because I'm so tired. I got to go. But listen, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching me. You rock. You know what? And I just love some of the comments people write. They were funny this week. One guy said, "You made me cry with that touchdown song." I know, right? And so on Monday, we get a victory. It'll be Victory Monday. Come back and turn me on. Boom, boom. That was a double one. Turn me on Monday for a Victory Monday. You'll get the song again. And of course, we'll talk about how they got the win. But we need this win. Have to have it, Bears. And Bears fans, when you're at that game, I don't care how shitty the weather is, you scream your asses off. You gotta be loud when their offense is on the field. Not when ours is, but when theirs is. So make it so loud that you cost penalties on New Orleans, false starts, that kind of stuff. That's when the fans can help the football team, okay? So it's up to you guys. I'm watching you. And as always, be kind. I always sign off my show like this. Just be kind to one another. Let's stick together. You know what? We may not all think alike. We may not all agree, but that's okay. That doesn't mean we have to be disrespectful. That doesn't mean we don't have to like somebody. I'm of the age and era that, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even early 90s, particularly politicians, they all work together. So let's just be kind. Because you never know what kind of day somebody's having or what kind of a life. It's tough out there right now. Times are tough. So be nice. That's all I ask. And Bears fans, let's stick together, baby. Let's bring ourselves a Victory Monday. So rock and roll, Bears. Get us a victory. And thank you all for watching me. And tell everybody because it's Keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. I'll see you on Monday.